comprised of members of the University Senate, essentially the Vice Chancellor and our team, Deputy Vice Chancellors, Registrar, Professors, Deans, Directors, Heads of Department, etc., etc. And I'm going to be asking us to please rise in deference to the procession, which is now arriving. May we please rise in deference to the university procession, which is now arriving. Thank you. University procession comprised of university members of the University Senate, led by the Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Deans, Directors, parcel of professors, senior lecturers, top management staff. And behind is the mace bearer leading the final tranche of the procession. And there you have the university bursar, university registrar, the inaugural lecturer, and of course, the university vice chancellor, Professor Kathleen Okafor. While we are still standing, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, can we have the national anthem, please? The national anthem, please. National anthem, please. No, that's not our national anthem. That's it, right? That's it, right? Okay. Go ahead. Thank you very much. While we're still standing, ladies and gentlemen, we'll now take the base anthem. This university. Thank you. Please resume your seats. Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor, University Registrar, Librarian, Bossa, Deans, Directors, Heads of Departments, a parcel of professors, lecturers, students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My pleasure to welcome one and all to the 4th inaugural lecture of this illustrious university. And it is my pleasure as well to bring to the microphone the University Vice Chancellor, Professor Kathleen Okafor, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for her welcome address. Vice Chancellor, ma'am.
Thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the deans of the various faculties, the DVC admin, DVC IT, they are still on their way. My Lord spiritual and temporal, and our august visitors, welcome to Bayes University. It's indeed a unique opportunity this evening. I'm privileged to welcome everybody here to listen to one of our erudite professors, erudite in his field, and in a field that is really relevant and more dimensional to present day success. The title of today's lecture is Psychological Self-Awareness and Emotional Adjustment for Successful Living and Healthy Lifestyle. And let me remind us once again the multiple reasons why inaugural lectures are presented. First is to share knowledge. The second one is for planning and understanding and impartation to others, and application of the knowledge. The third one is to validate findings that may be made. There may be other reasons he will tell us today. I do not want to preempt his scholarly work. And I don't want to try and introduce him. He's a well-known person of excellence, robust in his thinking. And he's intellectually, in many dimensions, a colossus in his own right. Today, I want to welcome all of you to listen. There's no end to knowledge. When I look at successful, the word successful living, it's not the length of your purse, nor the length of your knowledge that can say that you're a successful man. You know that today. There are many dimensions to success. So as I welcome everybody today with singular honor, and I ask you to share and listen attentively. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, University Vice Chancellor. My pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to bring to the stage the distinguished inaugural lecturer, Professor Odebumni, for us to listen to his citation. Yes. Yes. No. Just please. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Professor Akin Odebumni is an astute scholar and internationally renowned academic, born March 17, 1943. As a professor of psychology, he has seamlessly integrated the intellectual rigor of the Nigeria academic landscape with the unparalleled excellence of international scholarship. His research interests encompass substance abuse management, personality assessment, forensic psychology, stress management, and etc. He began his academic journey at the Baptist Boys High School, Abeokuta, founded in 1923, before proceeding to the Igbobi College, Lagos, founded in 1932. He then moved to the United States of America, where he obtained his BA and MA in psychology from Chapman University, California, from 1967 to 1971. Driven by an insatiable quest for academic advancement, he pursued his PhD in psychology at Claremont University, California, from 1971 to 1974. Professor Akin Odebumni's career path is evidence of how teaching is his way of life. He has traversed almost all levels of teaching, starting from being a secondary school class teacher at Premier Grammar School, Abeokuta, a school owned by his late father, late Honorable J.D. Odebumni. He moved into academia as a graduate assistant instructor at Chapman University, Orange, California, from 1970 to 1974. While he was working with Chapman, he was also a teacher, counselor at El Camino Real High School in Placentia Unified School District in same California. Driven by a sense of patriotism, Professor Akin Odebumni returned to his homeland, Nigeria, and began his academic career at the University of Benin in 1975. He advanced rapidly, attaining the position of a full professor in 1989. During his tenure at the University of Benin, he undertook a sabbatical at the Psychiatric Hospital in Benin City, Nigeria, and another at Delaware Valley Mental Health Foundation in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Since his retirement from the University of Benin in 1997, Professor Odebumni has worked as a visiting professor of psychology in the Department of Psychology at Chapman University and visiting professor at the Department of Psychology at Covenant University, Ota, in Ogun State. He also worked with the Psychology Department of the Nigerian Defense Academy, NDA, Kaduna, as a professor of psychology and was a member of the NDA Cadet Selection Board for 4 years. Professor Odebumni has published vigorously in reputable international and national journals in diverse areas of psychology. He has also presented numerous conference papers and has been involved in academic engagements in many countries. Since his retirement, ladies and gentlemen, he has published more than 10 books, including Stress Management for Healthy Living, Parenting, a cross-cultural and psychological perspective, Understanding Behavioral Problems, Drug Abuse Awareness Management Strategies, Effective Meetings, Retirement Preparation, a unique way to reduce stress and pursue a healthy lifestyle, Self-Esteem, a unique way to reduce stress and improve productivity, and of course, Understanding and Management of Drug Addiction and Alcoholism, Quitting Smoking, amongst several others. Vice Chancellor Ma, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Professor Odebumni's professional credentials include Certified Addiction Treatment Specialist, CATS, Certified Chemical Dependency Counselor, CCDC, Postdoctoral Internship Certificate in Psychotherapy, California Community College Credentials, California Standard Services Counseling Credential, and California Standard Teaching Credential. He has served as a consultant and trainer for many organizations, including the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, the Nigerian Drug Law Emergency Agency, the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, the Nigerian Intelligence Agency, NIA Abuja, the Presidency, Aso Villa Abuja, and the Bureau of Public Service Reforms, amongst many others. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Professor Odebumni has made significant contributions to his profession and to the universities where he has served as a lecturer. He has received merit awards from both Baptist Boys High School in Abeokuta and Igbobi College in Lagos. He is a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants and the Nigerian Psychological Association, NPA. Professor Odebumni is a personable and public-spirited individual who has supervised numerous PhD candidates and assessed many professors. And by all means, he qualifies to be a professor of professors. He is happily married to another professor, Folashade Odebumni. And they are blessed with 4 successful children and many grandchildren. Vice Chancellor Ma, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at 81, it might look like the sun is gradually setting for the revered professor. But with his energy, boisterous and affable nature, in addition to his brimming energy, it is clear that the sun is still rising for this stage. For Professor Odebumni, therefore, it is just morning yet on the day of his increase. Celebrated for his professional achievements and mentorship, he remains a revered figure in psychology, supported by his wife and their accomplished family. That is the man, our man, Professor Odebumni. University Vice Chancellor Ma, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present this exemplary scholar to you for the university's 4th inaugural lecture. It's now your turn, sir. Yeah, welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to go through the protocol list. I'd like to say hello to the Vice Chancellor, to the Chancellor, Chairman Board of Trustees of Based University, Senator Y.D. Baba Ahmed, PhD, FSAN. The Acting Vice Chancellor, Professor Kathleen E. Okafor, SAN. DVC Administration, Dr. Atiku Saleh, DVC ITRI, Dr. Rizlan Kanya, the Registrar, Associate Professor Jamila Shuara, the University Librarian, Dr. James Daniel, the Acting Bursar, Mrs. Juliet Omotayo Bature, Deans of Faculties, Directors, Members of Senate, distinguished former inaugural lecturers, distinguished colleagues, academic and non-academic, students of this great university, distinguished guests, my dear family members and friends, my alma mater group, UP-IC, and UP-BBHS, UP-School. Gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude to Bayes University for this great opportunity to deliver my inaugural lecture. The moment is particularly significant as it comes many years after my promotion, which was as a result of ill health, which necessitated me an early retirement from the University of Benin in 1997. This occasion is truly a dream fulfilled. I'm especially thankful to this great university for their support. I extend my heartfelt thanks to the Chancellor, Chairman of Board of Trustees, Senator Y.D. Baba Ahmed, PhD, the Acting Vice Chancellor, Professor Kathleen Okafor, SAN, the Deputy Vice Chancellors, and the entire management and staff of Bayes University. My journey to become an academic began at Chapman University, where I obtained my first and second degrees in psychology. While at the university, I was honored to be elected president of the International Student Club, and I also served as captain of the college soccer team. I was fortunate to be mentored by Professor Wilfred Landros, my academic advisor, a professor of psychology, who challenged me to take rigorous course load, ensuring I graduated on time, because he realized anytime I was given the requirement 12-unit course as a foreign student, I was ready to drop out. But anytime I was given 18 units or 21 units, I made all A's or all B's. So he decided, he said, I know your type, and I'm a psychologist. I'll put you right, and I thank God for him. At Claremont University, where I earned my PhD, I was privileged to be guided by Professor N. Califf and Malcolm P. Douglas. I contributed to the Claremont University Research Group, investigating a case of assumed racial prejudice in an elementary school child. This early experience in therapeutic intervention was pivotal in shaping my interest in behavior management. It was realized from that handling of the child's problem that the psychologist is expected to be somebody that takes care of trouble. But ironically, if I tell you the problem of the child, it wasn't a big problem. The child was taught and brought up by the mother to be the last, not to race with anybody, to rush for anything. So she's always the last to go to the place to pick up her pencil and paint, and she's always finding the last remaining black paints, and that was why she was painting black. Upon starting my career at the University of Benin, I trained students in psychology, industrial psychology, and the management of psychological health problems. I was also involved in a joint research training program on drug abuse and management with the International Council on Addiction and Alcohol, ICAA, in Switzerland, which further fueled my interest in psychological diagnosis and research. During my sabbatical year at Delaware Valley Mental Health Foundation in Pennsylvania from 1982 to 83, I completed a postdoctoral internship in psychotherapy and served as a consultant family therapist. The experience particularly attending weekly lectures on childhood and adolescent disorders, deepened my research interest and led to the publication of my book, Understanding Behavior Problems, which I think is around for those who might be interested. My professional practice extended to several mental health institutions, including Neuropsychiatric Hospital in Benin City, where I also spent my 1989 to 1990 sabbatical year, Aro Mental Hospital in Abeokuta, and Yaba Psychiatric Hospital. My assigned duties at these facilities included assessment and management of emotionally disturbed and substance abused patients. Appreciations to the medical director, Dr. Roland Agidi and his staff, Dr. Smalomo, Adamson, Osahun, and Ikeji. It was also at this period I was assigned to teach psychotherapy for the postgraduate students at the University of Benin MSc Psychology program. During this period, I was also invited as a psychologist to the Nigerian Psychiatric Hospital Management Board as a member. My assignments included diagnosing emotionally disturbed patients at Aro Mental Hospital, Yaba Psychiatric Hospital, and Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Benin City. The use of my research on psychological tests for counseling and health management, PTCHM, came in handy. Throughout my career at the University of Benin between 1979 and 1997, I was invited as an external examiner to several Nigerian universities assessing undergraduate and postgraduate psychology programs. My international experience includes serving as a drug abuse research consultant at the Human Resources Development Institute, HRDI, in Chicago, where I provided clinical services and clinical training to selected HRDI staff between 1996 and 1999. And that was my first time of being exposed to the Cook County Jail, a typical jail in Chicago, where I had to work with some kids who are supposed to be 17 and 18, but they are already sentenced. In November 1996, I was involved in the United Nations Drug Control Program, UNDP, African Regional Office Training Project in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire. My assignments included training substance abuse counselors and psychologists from 16 different African countries, including Nigeria. My appreciation to Dr. Kamayo Nwale, the then UNDP Technical Director for the project in 2005. I also worked as a consultant to UNDP in Abuja. My duties involved the inspection of all the UNDP drug-funded programs in Nigeria. It involves my visit to various UNDP-funded programs such as Abraka University, University of Abuja, Lagos, and Kano State. At Chapman University at El Toro Academic Center, I taught postgraduate courses and research methods in substance abuse treatment. My assignments also included conducting research on the impact of alcohol and tobacco advertising on youth for the National Council on Addiction and Drug Dependence, which is popularly known as NCADD. Furthermore, I have organized stress management and healthy lifestyle training programs for various organizations and corporations, including the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, the Nigerian National Intelligence Agency, NIA, and the Nigerian Defense Academy, NDA, including the presidency. I'm deeply appreciative of the opportunities and support I have received throughout my career, enabling me to contribute meaningfully to the field of psychology and to the betterment of mental health practices in Nigeria and beyond. Choosing the topic for this lecture was a challenging task. I often reminded my students that there is a thin line between sanity and insanity. A boundary we all cross at various points. It's when you stay inside any of them too long that you can end up in an asylum. But you should know when to get out. So, what happens here is that The most aspect of it includes morality. Psychology includes morality, language, perspective, memory, dreams, and emotions. Formally, psychology is concerned with human personality, behavior, and emotional adjustment. It is the study of the mind through the examination of behaviors. Essentially, it is the science of behavior and the mind. Behavior can be studied through observation of individual actions, while the mind can be studied through subjective experiences such as thoughts, feelings, sensations, perceptions, memories, dreams, and motives. The science of behavior provides an objective way to answer scientific questions based on observable facts, data, and well described methods of observation. Therefore, the scientific definition of psychology is the scientific study of behavior and mental processes. The study of psychology has afforded me the opportunity to explore and interpret my world and the people within it. In every conceivable reality, from scientific research to mental health services, the understanding of behavior is therefore the enterprise of psychologists. The fourth inaugural lecture is titled Psychological Self-Awareness and Emotional Adjustment for Successful Living and Healthy Lifestyle. It was not easy to come up with this topic that it could reflect my research interest in psychology due to the breadth of my interest. However, I was guided by the advice of one of my mentors, an academic advisor, who emphasized the importance of focusing on research that enhances our awareness and promotion and promotes healthy living. And he always that mentor always tell me, as a psychologist, physician, heal thyself. So I would like to say this to my colleague psychologists: you have to be sane to be able to take care of sanity among people. Consequently, this topic addresses the critical need for knowledge acquisition regarding our choices between healthy and unhealthy lifestyles. In other words, a good choice of behavior should be more advantageous to positive personality behavior patterns that could see us through living a healthy lifestyle. This inaugural lecture will focus on the following areas I have researched on in the past couple of years. Section 1, research on psychological diagnostic tests. Section 2, research findings on stress. Section 3, research findings on understanding behavior problems. Section 4, research on self-esteem. Section 5, research on parenting. And Section 6, drug abuse, awareness, and management strategies. The research on psychological diagnostic tests, I became interested in research on psychological diagnostic tests as a result of my teaching assignment at Chapman University, which included the use of psychological tests to assist students on probation. But I realized that many of the psychological tests made available to us were not yielding expected results because some of them were culturally biased. During my PhD program in psychology at Claremont, my primary supervisor, Professor Obakon P. Douglas, encouraged my interest in psychological testing. He nominated me for sponsorship to attend the annual Minnesota Multifaceted Personality Inventory, MMPI, conference at the University of Minnesota. And this has given me an exposure to work with experts on psychological tests. But the joy of that is that I was invited to so many MMPI tests where I was sponsored and taken care of by MMPI themselves. At the conference, I had an opportunity of raising the shortfall of MMPI usage as it affects other cultures. I and others with similar questions were directed to highlight our concerns to Jim Butcher, who is the editor general of the MMPI. It was gratifying to note that the revised version of the MMPI from that time on was inclusive of all the concerns raised. I was privileged to receive sponsorship from MMPI to attend many conferences, like I said, including University of Hawaii, where I met so many professors in the psychology department. I think I met 99 professors in the psychology department, and they told me they were not being paid by the university, they were being paid by their grants for research. And I think that's a place most psychologists should be aiming to go to, because Hawaii is like heaven on earth. Upon returning to Nigeria, I became deeply involved in establishing the Nigerian Psychological Association alongside colleagues who shared the same vision. At the University of Benin City, where I taught, one of the major problems I encountered was the lack of available psychological tests. This led to the birth of my first research titled Psychological Tests by Odebumni. Section 1, Research on Psychological Diagnostic Tests. The tests were also used at the Nigerian Defense Academy, NDA, where I participated in the NDA recruitment between 2012 and 2017 as a visiting professor of psychology in the Department of Psychology. Also at NDA, the wives were given some training on how to handle their homes and their children. Personality development and stress management was my cup of tea. Many of my colleagues at Bayes University may even recall that their results at Bayes are with psychology department, as it was used for my staff seminar presentation on Bayes University Faculty Management and Social Science at Faculty Series Seminar. And I remember when the accreditors came, they said, you people just have psychological tests, you don't use them. I said, we'll use them here. And when I brought out the results, they were amazed. Although luckily enough, this test does not have pass or fail. So everybody should be relaxed. The test was also used to score some points for Bayes University Psychology Department accreditation, because the accreditors asked for what we have been using those tests for. Psychological tests for counseling and management, PGCHM, general trait scale, intellectual traits, and emotional adjustment inventory. In an essential requirement of writing these test items, the following rules were strictly adhered to. Detailed statistical analysis of how these items relate to each other, which was absolutely indispensable part of the construction of the question and test items. Test items which were not correlated with other test items in the groups were eliminated. In both the general and emotional traits, I made sure that the test items were clearly relevant to particular traits which were being measured. Another important factor considered in the arrangement of both the general trait and the emotional adjustment inventory was the consideration of marked correlations between the different traits. If you look at the paragraph, the hierarchy of the model, you will notice that it had the aggression temper scale, the assertiveness scale, the insecurity scale, the introversion, extroversion, the leadership, tolerance, superstition, superiority against inferiority, risk scale, and psychological fitness scale. To top it with popularity versus unpopularity scale. The intellectual trait included the intelligence scale and the intelligence achievement orientation scale, while the emotional adjustment scales included the anxiety, autism, depression, eating disorder, insecurity, suicide, stress, sleep disorder, neurosis, and anger. So if anybody should say they are having some of these problems, you know where to take them. Psychology department can be of help. Reliability of the PGCHM. The purpose of this psychological test is to give the user, mostly guidance counselors, psychologists, psychotherapists, insight into people's general traits, behavior pattern, people's intellectual trait, and people's emotional adjustment patterns. The scores of any of the three categories of tests are suggestive rather than definitive. The scores of any of the three categories of tests should be used as guides and possibly compared with similar tests in therapy. The interview approach can be utilized to confirm the results of both general trait scale and the adjustment inventory. The pitch shared is reliable and valid. The details of the robust reliability and validity process can be found in the inaugural lecture booklet. So I won't go through that. Suggested use of psychological test, therapeutic use, management use. And for therapeutic use, you can find out the problems and try to solve them. For management use, it can be used by management for the following: personal selection, assessment of management staff, for promotions, assessment of mental alertness of top management staff to determine need for psychological assistance, assessment of specific emotional areas of concern to management such as stress, assertiveness, leadership, superiority, tolerance, and other psychological personality problems. Section 2, research findings on stress. You need stress in your life. Without stress, life will be dull and unexciting. Stress adds flavor, challenge, and opportunity to life. Too much stress, though, however, can damage you physically and mentally. Stress has been identified as a significant factor contributing to individuals' inabilities to maintain a healthy lifestyle. It's a known fact that you need stress in your life. Without it, you will be dull and unexciting, but it adds flavor, challenge, and opportunity to life. I'm living witness of how stress can damage your life. I thank God for a full recovery after a stroke. I have been treated for high blood pressure. Thank you. Thank you. I've been treated for high blood pressure as a teenager. You would think I should have been more careful with my health. No, like other individuals like me, I was in denial. I never believed it could happen to me, so I got careless. The end result was a stroke. Your attitude and philosophy to life are more or less responsible for your thought pattern, which more or less control how you live your life. My thoughts are always beclouded by lecturers I have had or read about, from great teachers, speeches I have listened to, and read from great speakers and writers, and my regular reflective thoughts whenever my mind settles in a chaotic state. As a psychologist, one of my most admired quotes is, "Life is a continuum. Tomorrow is yesterday of the day after. Today is yesterday of tomorrow. You can appreciate the past as a warning for tomorrow, but don't live in it. If you live in it, you will be in denial, and you'll be living like a zombie." How often do you measure your failure with your past? Measuring the past with the present or the future often disturbs good thinking. There's no correlation between what you used to be and what you can become. Confidence in positive thinking and in one's character is more or less the privilege of glorious, successful men and women. I once read a book which described human growth from the perspective of plant growth. It's rather difficult for many of us to visualize our growth being compared with plants. But the truth shares at each and every one of us to visualize the comparison. All we need to visualize becomes vivid when we remember how fragile we are as humans. Don't we think we are going to do this tomorrow, we are going to do that the day after, but are we the owner of tomorrow? No. The fear of death is very strong among humans, yet we live reckless lifestyles, and irrespective of our protective lifestyles, we die anyway. You may be afraid of automobile accidents and refuse to ride in any vehicle, but does that prevent you from being knocked down by a reckless driver? No, it doesn't. The perception of the causal factors of life's tragedies in our lives is more or less responsible for our belief system. If you believe in the Almighty Creator's ultimate control of the entire universe, you are more likely going to be less anxious and stressed about your life. You are likely going to see life in a more different manner than those who refuse to surrender themselves to God. The majority of those who do not believe in the power of the Almighty tend to experience confusion, more materialistic, and they are always stressed, and they are never satisfied. How do you feel about yourself? Are you happy? Are you contented? Are you at peace with yourself? Do you compare yourself with your friends? Do you wish you were somebody else? If you do not consider yourself happy or feel good about yourself, the tendency is that you are stressing yourself. If you are not contented with what you are or at peace with yourself, you are stressing yourself. If you continuously compare yourself with others and continuously wish you are somebody else, you are only stressing yourself. You can't get out of it. The individual highlighted above who is stressing himself or herself, when asked, how do you feel? Will answer, I'm all right. It could be better. He or she is not actually sounding convincing that he or she is all right. If he or she is all right, the additional comment of it could be better will not be needed. The question I normally ask my clients who answer negatively about how they are is, do you really feel that miserable? Is there nothing to thank the Almighty for? How many people in your position will be grateful to God that you are still living? With these questions, many of them come to a reality or a realization that their condition is even envied by subordinates under them, and therefore they change their negative attitude to life. So I'm advising, please change your negative attitude to life. You can't do anything with it. To many in denial, physical adjustment is not possible once an individual approaches middle age. The middle age spread to them is uncontrollable. Some of them will even describe themselves as all right, round, instead of fat, if they are fat. But for all those who in this category, stress management for healthy living is a remedy and a solution to their problems. What is important about your weight, though, is good health and not how skinny you look or how fancy you look. For as long as you are able to carry your weight with pride without encountering medical problems, you would not have need to spend your money on psychological problems solving of complex low self-esteem, depression, or anorexia nervosa. But your weight, if they're negatively affecting your health, please see your medical doctor or your psychologist. What is your dream for your future? Is your dream to become a respectable, healthy old man or woman? Or is your dream to become a burden to your children and grandchildren? Can you recall having healthy grandparents? Do you dream that your grandchildren should recall you and as a healthy grandfather or grandmother? Do you wish for a good health at your old age to be able to play with your grandchildren and possibly great-grandchildren if the Almighty permits? People should not hang on to their past. If we don't take ownership of our past, we cannot have a future, but we don't need to hang on to it. The past should prepare us for a better future if we are thinking right, but we cannot have a future if we don't think. As individuals, we can either continue to live the way we are living, or we can change it with a dream. Thinking is the motivating force which can allow our dream to come to reality. Many people, when you mention the need for good health, will complain that they cannot afford it, they cannot maintain it because it is too expensive. Are they actually saying that good health is synonymous with wealth? Is it not true that some people eat their wealth? Health may be considered wealth, but can wealth be considered health? Do you need wealth to think? Can you recall when last you were able to indulge in serious thinking? Is it when you are well fed or when you are sober? The beginning stage of thinking is the dream. Your life is the subtotal of your thinking. You need to take ownership of your health and think of your future health. For you to live a healthy lifestyle, you need to think on how to improve your life and your health. There is need to prioritize on what is your need for a healthy living. All dreams should focus on vision, passion, and strong desire. Once you have a vision, a passion, and a strong desire for good health, you are on the way to a healthy living lifestyle. Good luck. While working with a group of adolescents, one of the parents challenged me for saying, I'm the mother of one of the children you are working with. My son told me he likes you a lot. Why do you raise their hopes? She asked. I replied with another question as a Nigerian who loves to answer question for question. Would you rather wish I should discourage your son from hoping? Would you be more comfortable if I let your child feel very miserable just like you? I thought she was going to react negatively. She walked away. I was shocked to see the woman in my office the next day with her son and requesting for a therapy session. And what happened? This encounter led to the son's quick healing. The research on stress management has resulted into publication of stress management for healthy living. The books addressed the reader's consciousness of a need for a healthy living lifestyle with the following topics: stress symptoms, stress illness, elimination of unnecessary stressors, stress and time management, stress management strategies, cognitive behavior relaxation, autogenic meditation on stress, philosophical thinking as a stress management exercise as a stress management. However, for this lecture, only two of the major topics will be briefly covered. The topics are stress symptoms and stress management strategies. Stress symptoms: alcoholism, drinking, dependency, personality changes, loss of confidence, overzealousness, short temper or rudeness, general aggressiveness, unnecessary violence, panic, loss of memory, loss of interest, and loss of well-being. The physical symptoms continued with raised blood pressure, migraine headaches, nervous breakdown, sleeplessness, stomach upset, gastrointestinal disorders, skin rashes, low back pain, neck and shoulder aches and pains, aching jaw, susceptible to colds, flu, and coronary heart disease. Depression is a strong physical symptom of stress, while loss of interest, loss of well-being, and withdrawal can be noticed among psychological symptoms of stress. The correlation with depression is very factual. The stress management strategies include valuing, determine what is important from what is urgent. Don't kill yourself. 2, commitment. Invest in any proposed target, complete tasks, and do not abandon halfway. Pace yourself. Change the scene. If the scene is too strenuous, move away from it. Listen. Many people don't listen anymore. They just talk. And we need to be able to listen to other people. Asserting oneself. Flight. Build a nest. Your house should be made into a home where you can relax and have peace. Relabel situations. Surrender. Let go of forces in your life that are bigger than you. Be realistic. Faith. Accept the unknowable. Imagination. Turn negative thoughts into positive engagement. Engage in positive self-talk. Exercise. Eat right. And positive self-talk sometimes is you want to catch, you like the oranges or something, but you can't reach it or you don't have anything with it to catch it. Well, the thing is not sweet anyway. How did you know? But you've given yourself a soft talk and you can match on. Other stress management, thank you. Other stress management, be gentle with yourself. Let go. Don't allow post or current problems control your life. Engage in personal growth activities. Reduce the number of alternatives that have to be dealt with in any decision-making process. Establish life rhythms. Learn to use behavior modification techniques of maladaptive behaviors. Re-stimulate your creativity. Add some variety to your life. Hold opinions loosely. Be flexible and always be willing to change your opinions with new factual knowledge. Help others and indulge in imagery and fantasy, laughter, crying, sleep well, take long walks, take hot baths, showers, massage. Know your body's warning signals. Remember to provide yourself with options. With options, you are better off. Research findings on understanding behavioral problems. Understanding human behavior is a task which should be carried out by all youths and adults. Parents, teachers, doctors, nurses, counselors, human resources manager, social welfare workers, educators, and all humans, irrespective of their status within the society. Understanding human behavior, written in 2004, was put together as a result of research finding on human behavior studies and experiences gathered through practice, coupled with the exposure from the postdoctoral internship in psychotherapy at Delaware Valley Mental Health Foundation, Doylestown, Pennsylvania. The University of and some lectures I listened to at University of Pennsylvania Medical School, and some of the work I did at Neuropsychiatric Hospital at Benin City. Also, for a long period, I have been haunted by late Professor Bode Akindele's former medical director of our mental hospital, when he ascertained that in writing a foreword to this book, he said, inter alia, an introduction published in 1990, he wrote, inter alia, one thing, however, is apparent. It is the kind of book that will need to be reviewed from time to time in line with new knowledge and changes in society. All these truly aggregated to the comprehensive and concise materials of the 2004 edition of Understanding Behavioral Problems. The first edition was 1990. The areas to be covered under the inaugural on the Understanding Behavioral Problems will attempt to focus on awareness on character formation, personality development, research and findings, discussions of the researches on understanding of human behavior problems will therefore be centered on the following: adjustment problems, character personality problems, psychoneurotic problems, problems of disorders of childhood and adolescence, and disorders of adulthood. Some of these that you cannot find in the inaugural lecture can be found in the books. I think the books are around, and some people, they are around and they will be able to help you. All you need to do is just scan the barcode on the back of your notebook, the one with you. You will see the books and you can order them online, or if you want them regular, you can read them, other e-learning, or you can get them as books. Adjustment problems, hostility. Causes of hostility have been treated to the childhood relationship with parents. Hostile people are very difficult to get along with. You have to become unpleasant. If they do not get what they want, they always become unpleasant. And among the factors responsible for developing hostility in individuals are unnecessary, inconsistent, and harsh discipline, overindulgent parents, improper training, parental inconsistencies, physical injury. Management strategies on hostile children are also reflected. Provisions of a peaceful and non-critical atmosphere in the home will change some of the behavior of the kids. Adjustment problems, hostility, management strategies for hostile children, provision of a peaceful and non-critical atmosphere in the home by parents and parent substitutes. parental consistency, demonstration of acceptable behavior, avoiding undue provocation of tantrum-tempered children, regular medical checkups, and appropriate medical treatment. Hostility management strategy for adults include ventilation of hostile feelings. Consultation with a psychologist is necessary. Therapy must focus on client's concept of himself or herself. The psychologist must help the hostile person to develop a sense of security. Medical attention is also necessary because hostility takes. Then adjustment problem, inferiority complex, symptoms of inferiority complex, causes of inferiority complex. Then the management of inferiority complex, providing the child with experiences in which the child feels comfortable. Avoidance of situations which demand undue competition or frustration. Parents or parent substitutes must show confidence in the child's abilities, helping the child adjust more realistically to goals. The therapist or psychologist or counselor must instill feelings of worthiness. The child must be assisted to attain a better, desirable self-image. Jealousy. Adjustment problems can be described as an attitude of envy, resentment towards more successful rival. Jealousy can be characterized as being at odds with one's environment, being suspicious, and being stubborn. Feelings of jealousy or sibling rivalry are universal, and parents and adults should expect a certain amount of positive competition for success. There's always that way. If there are no competition among your children, you are not bringing them well. Management of jealousy, causes of jealousy, adjustment, problem solving. The next one, an individual's inability to solve his or her problems resulting from lack of knowledge on problem solving can be responsible for character personality problems. It is therefore necessary to recommend the following basic principles of problem solving. Basic principles of problem solving include: what is the problem? What is the magnitude of the problem? What is the problem occurring now? How has the problem occurred before? What were the causes of the problem when it occurred? To what extent does the problem affect you personally? To what extent does the problem affect your spouse, your friends, your members of the family, and your colleagues? What is the real problem here? So you can start looking at them in order to solve them. Name and claim responsibility for how you feel about the problem. How do I feel about the problem? How do I feel about being responsible for the problem? How do people around me feel about the problem? Unfortunately, when we help people that are having psychological problem, we tend to forget they are the owner of the problem, not you helping them. So you let them know it is their problem and they should stick to it. Identify possible choices. What are the possible choices to take to provide solutions to the problem? What can I do personally to solve the problem? What can those around me do to solve the problem? And what are my plans to get out of the problem? Then you see the examine possible consequences. What are the consequences of my available solutions? Are they working? Are they not working? Select the best possible solutions. What are the possible steps to take to carry out the solution? What do I need to carry out? Set up what you need and see if you can go after it. If you cannot go after it, seek help, please. Unfortunately, suicide rate is increasing among our people. It's unfortunate, but it is. Do you think your newly acquired problem-solving technique helped you to solve the problem? Do you need to change your problem-solving strategy to be more effective? And if you are very happy with your newly acquired knowledge of problem-solving, can you reward yourself for being able to solve your problem? Sometimes you need to reward yourself. Nobody will reward you. Research on self-esteem. That happens to be another area of good choice for children, for children's growth. If you see some of our children nowadays, they are having a lot of low self-esteem. And as a result, when they grow up, it is affecting many of them, even in their workplaces.
They're always envious, they're always jealous, they're always criticizing, they're always raising hell. Why? Because they've been raised wrongly. So you as a parent, you have to contribute, because unfortunately, we don't even seem to have parents anymore. Many parents don't even know how to parent themselves, to talk less of parent their children. It's unfortunate because many of them are too busy working and concentrating on their jobs and their positions that they don't even have time to help their children grow. So we need to. Self-esteem is the way you perceive and value yourself as a person. It's the degree to which you respect, accept, and feel confident in your abilities, appearance, and worth. Then, building and maintaining healthy life self-esteem takes time and effort. Thank you. Takes time and effort. Building and maintaining healthy self-esteem takes time and effort, but it's worth it. My research into self-esteem focused on how parents and authority figures handicap children's self-esteem. It has been realized that many individuals with low self-esteem more or less develop their self-esteem from their childhood experiences. Causal factors of low self-esteem among children. Parents' low self-esteem. Comparing children to their siblings or peers, being raised without the encouragement to think for themselves. Many parents believe they own the answer to all the children's problems. As a result, the children are not allowed to experience how to grow independently. So when the parents are not there, they misbehave. So we should start to think that we should not continue to think we should just continue to spoil our children. If we do, we are doing it at our own risk, please. So you can read part of that. I think there are some books on self-esteem too, but I think they are available on the e-learning. Not to raise children with too much pressure on doing the right thing. Children are children, they should do certain things wrong. So take them, but if you tell them you must be perfect, the children will learn how to lie and survive. But if they know that the environment is easy and they can confide in you, they say, Mom, I did this. Okay, don't do it again. Okay, Mom, thank you. But if you allow them to, did you do this? No. I mean, only a stupid child will tell you yes. And I know those kids are smart. I mean, you know them. Because many of you cannot even operate your television without this kit. Am I wrong? So, no, discourage repeated defeats among your children and students, and encourage a learning environment that will allow slow children to go at their own pace. We don't all have to come first. You don't have to sit on children. You have to come first. You have to do this, please. Try as much as possible to understand them. Desist from condemning and putting down their children, especially mothers. Researches have shown that children take mothers' rejection more seriously than fathers' rejection. Mothers, please. That gives us some leeway, women, because we don't even know whether when we reject or we don't reject, right? The above research findings in its conclusion recommended the need to provide basic education for the girl child in order to encourage sound self-esteem among children. Research on parenting. Every culture is credited with traditional or common ways of child rearing. In the African society, there's a common saying that the whole village raises the child, but nowadays it's gone because you find some parents suing schools for raising their kids, and they want to tell the school, no, that's my child. I'm the father or the mother of the child. Okay, raise the child yourself. No, they can't, but they don't even want you to touch them. And many of them use their position to harass parents and school owners and schools and teachers. Ironically, it is happening everywhere. Every institution, some parents will lie to their mouth. What you know is wrong. And if you try to correct them, they will support their children, feel like they know their children, and the children get away with murder. Sorry. Globalization has also defined and influenced the previously accepted parental control over the children in almost all member countries of the world. Peer group and technological advancement in communication has widened the horizon of every child or adolescent. And parents, please be careful. Watch what the children are watching. Go into their room, find out what they are doing. Don't make yourself the friend of my son or the friend of my daughter. No, you are the parent. And trying to be friend is okay. Trying to be friendly doesn't mean you have to be his friend or her friend. If she's doing something wrong, be good enough to check. Because if you don't, you confuse them and they get confused. All the listed inventions have created unprecedented exposure for children and adolescents all over the world. It is therefore an impossible task to restrict what information is readily made available for a growing child, because they are so exposed to so many things. And so we have to be careful. The children have been overexposed to what adults used to keep a secret. As a result, there has been an erroneous problem of raising children in various cultures of the world. The highlighted problems which have been observed in almost all cultures, which promoted this research to focus on the following observations: lack of proper parenting, children's lack of respect for their parents, negative effects of peer group pressure on child and adolescent growth, children becoming parents before reaching maturity age, resulting from sexual promiscuity, problems, youth, violence, and rising criminal activities, youth membership, gangs, nocturnal groups, and disregard for law and order, youth lack of vocational skills and loss of hope in their future, lack of youthful activities which promote character building should be encouraged, parents, substitutes, and mentors' failure to present themselves as role models for the youth to emulate. We should be able to present ourselves as role models rather than just be the type that we shouting at them when they are doing something wrong. But when they are doing something right, you don't even have time to say, oh, good job, keep it up. So you have to reinforce them as you find out they are doing something wrong, correct them. Parenting and cross-cultural perspective. African concept of family parenting, the whole village being responsible for raising the child. Before, when we were growing, if you dress in a manner that is not healthy or in a manner that is stupid, your neighbor would not even allow you to pass through their gate. Say, come. Are you not so daughter? Come on, go back home. But now you do that, the parent may bring thugs to come and fight the woman. Why are you harassing my child? But who's going to suffer it? So, on the long run, the whole village is still being requested to please be your brother's keeper. Marriage as an institution is respected by many societies in Africa. When a man or a woman reaches the mature age, he or she is expected to marry. If the individual, for any reason, refuses to marry at this expected period, he or she is not respected in many societies in Africa. This is so because of the emphasis on African place on procreation. Most Africans view procreation as a way to keep God's request. It's unfortunate that the Western countries are trying to change that, and they think we should be the ones following them. And I'm glad many African countries are just saying no. Sorry, we are not following you. The advent of education and mechanized farming, coupled with the neglect for farming in many developing nations, have brought about the need for parents to get involved in family planning projects, which limits the family size to the number of children the parents can afford to raise. Then we also go into many parents in many developing nations to support their interest in large families have propagated the following reasons. Children are considered God-given, and one should not reject God's gift. Many family relations are requested to train some of the children of the members of the. I think in a situation where some parents are just having children and expecting the other family members to train them, it's an irresponsible situation, and it should be frowned at. The need for a peaceful family environment is a necessity for proper parenting. Parents should play active roles in establishing peaceful home environment which encourages loving and caring parenting to promote children's and youth proper growth and development. The success or failure of any marriage always has serious effects on children. So we have to be careful as parents. For a peaceful family environment, the following guidelines are hereby recommended. Parents should view their marriage vows with strong beliefs and responsibilities. Individuals should demonstrate some kind of maturity and be able to accept responsibility for their actions. Mutual respect for each other. Practice religion correctly with continuous prayers for their successful marriage. Communication and spousal interaction. Parents are urged to have the number of children they can afford to train. Marital cohesion. The state of sticking together, sexual gratification. Good luck. Now, let me go to section 5, which is the one on. Am I doing time? 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay. My research into drug abuse and management was born out of my many years experience at Placentia Unified School District, which was a secondary school in Placentia Unified School District. And it was a place where they put all the problem kids to be helped. And I remember enjoying the place, but when I went to Delaware, I continued with that because they have something like that too. At the University of Benin Teaching Hospital Department of Mental Health, we had some situation where most of our schools that were set up by the university were doing well, but the ones in school were not. So some people in town decided to bombard our schools with their children. So it got to a point that, if possible, if your child does not do well, you may not qualify to enter the university secondary school. So we had to find another way out to make sure that we increased the number of teachers and the number of classrooms. But it's unfortunate. We always say, child who shows the day as man who shows man. Some of the schools some of us went to when we were in secondary schools that we went to are still affecting us. I still find it difficult to cross a lawn. I just remember one of my seniors or my principal would say, Odebumni, I'm going to cut grass. So I would rather go around. So, but I don't think that exists anymore. Preventive and management strategies for alcohol and drug abuse, physical symptoms, the behavioral signs and drug abuse. Signs are necessary. The lack of interest in activities or hobbies the person used to do, lack of interest in decreased participation in family activities, trying to be lonely, neglecting responsibilities, difficulty remembering details of important appointments, secretive behavior, trying to hide everything from everybody, social, emotional, and mental isolation. Once you observe some of these things, you should try as much as possible to challenge them and find out what they are doing wrong. Many parents don't even do that. They don't challenge their children. Psychological signs include changes in person's thoughts, patterns, attitudes, beliefs, priorities, changes in personality traits, depression or anxiety, dismal outlook on the life, feeling of apathy and disinterest, lack of motivation, mood swings, irritability. And substance abuse recommendations for teachers and parents: recognize the physical signs of substance abuse, recognize the behavioral signs of substance abuse, recognize the psychological signs, be aware of nonverbal communication, listen, do not use scare tactics, integrate drug education into the curriculum, know where to help, integrate drug education into the curriculum, know where to help. That's repeated. Teachers and parents to communicate with each other. Additional recommendation for parents: make it clear that their child, that they love him, you care for him, but you are concerned. And showing concern will show them that you really care. Therapeutic management strategies is also included on drug abuse awareness and management. Educators who can use lectures, talk to them. They need to be talked to. The last final is the recommendation: research on parenting and child development, research on to solve tertiary institutions, education, and psychological problems. I remember some of these were my assignments when I was at Chapman University, working with the probation students and academic support services, psychological support services, career guidance counseling, peer support program, flexible learning options, financial support, student engagement activities, inclusive learning environment. Luckily, some of the things that are listed here are being practiced right now by this university. We hope the students will be smart enough to listen. Then, assisting tertiary institutions students in their behavior problems. We identify the triggers, therapeutic services, behavioral therapy, support groups, skill building, workshop, mentorship, and all whatnot. And I would like to say, I just saw the provost of the College of Nursing working. I think the college has a hospital and the students are paying for the hospital. I think they should let them know that mental health is part of their health, not getting headache alone. Is why they are paying the 20,000 or whatever they are paying. I think they are paying already. So I think we should include it and make sure that we organize it in such a way that all the student level advisors, if they catch any of the students that are not doing well, they should be able to refer them, please. And the psychology department will be ready to help if called upon, but we are not going to poke news. Promoting harmonious relationship. Thank you.
Thank you very much, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. And that was Professor Odebumni delivering his once in a lifetime inaugural lecture. It's also okay if we give him another round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. And it's now my pleasure to invite to the microphone the university's Deputy Vice Chancellor, IT, Dr. Rislan Kanyan, for his closing remarks. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, the Chair, the Acting Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, our bossa, our distinguished speaker, colleagues, and invited guests. Good evening. It is really a great pleasure again to meet for the fourth inaugural lecture. And this clearly shows this university is growing. We're deepening our practice, teaching, learning, and community engagement. And I'm not going to say much, but just to appreciate Prof. I've known Prof for quite long. And I think I'm the longest person that knows Prof in this hall as regards to Bez University. So I met Prof the first time he came in registrars at our former registrar's office, Idris. And I'm disappointed when I didn't see Idris here. Idris here. He should have been here to cheer you up. Yeah, so but thank you very much, Prof, for sharing this great work you have done over the last 5 decades. This clearly demonstrates your capability and competence and support to humanity. And Prof is a personal friend to me. I visited his house a couple of times, and he gifted me, I think, almost all his books. I have all his books in my house, and I've read all. But the most interesting work I love from Prof is Parenting. It's a very interesting book. I would suggest all of us, if we can take it up, and also the drug abuse. You know, even though most of us don't take drugs, but we take drugs to some extent because you can't get to the top with just determination. You may have to add up with a little caffeine. But thank you very much, Prof, for opening up. You know, few of us that are close to you know what you have been doing. Thank you very much for opening up today to share all this great work we are doing. And I personally look forward to engaging you more. And at many times, Prof, calm down my stress and my anger and my anxiety and my emotions. and I can't thank you enough. And please, at your free time, engage Prof. Last week, Prof and I met, I think last week, Monday. We had a robust discussion. I'm not going to say what we have discussed because it may create a problem going forward. But thank you very much, Prof. We truly appreciate you. And thank you very much, all colleagues, for coming. And we look forward to have more of this coming frequent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Vice Chancellor, IT, Dr. Ruslan Kanyan. And Professor Odebumni, be rest assured that I'm going to visit your home too, so that I can get your books. And it is now my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to bring to the microphone Professor Osita Agbo to move the vote of thanks. Professor Osita, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Abiodun Adeni, the University Orator. I've been asked to give the vote of thanks on this very special day. So on behalf of the Chancellor, Chairman Board of Trustees of Bayes University, Senator Dati Baba Ahmed, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Kathleen Oka for SAN, on behalf of the management and staff of the university, and the students of the university, I sincerely thank all who have been able to make it here today to attend this 4th inaugural lecture by a very senior colleague of ours, Professor Odebumni, who incidentally happens to be my colleague in the sense that we share the same office environment. So I have drunk from his wisdom, in the past 1 year or so. A very amiable gentleman, easygoing, and probably that is why he's so strong at 81 years. Some of us take life too seriously. He does his job, but he doesn't carry it on his head. And that's the lesson that we need to take away from here. So please permit me to just make this final comment. I can attempt to summarize what he has done today. This academic exertion of his, by reminding us of this old adage, man, know thyself. Man, know thyself. Know thyself, and then furthermore, be abstemious. Be abstemious. Don't be a glutton. Be abstemious, confident, contented, and above all, be realistic in your desires. Probably if we do that against the backdrop of what we have had today, we'll get to live as long as he has lived. So I thank you once again for coming to this occasion, especially our visitors from far and wide and those who have come on behalf of Professor Odebumni and university. Thank you very much for coming and for honoring us. I thank you, and I say, may God be with you as you depart, and as a university, we hope to see you again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, distinguished Professor Osita Agbo, the vote of thanks mover. And of course, to Professor Odebumni, congratulations on the delivery of your professorial inaugural lecture. And do remember that you're a man that most of us want to be like when we grow up. And ladies, Vice Chancellor Ma, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of this ceremony. We are going to go back out in reverse order. The procession will go out of the hall first, the University Senate that is, before the rest of us. We thank you once again for your patience and understanding. God bless you all as we bring this to a close. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I have instruction. Okay, we are supposed to honor our country, ladies and gentlemen, by singing the national anthem, please. National anthem.
Don't have a good version, don't make that one.
National anthem.
We can render it. That one you have is not a good version. I'm sure all of us can do that. 1, 2, 3.
Hallelujah. We hail thee, our native land. No tribe and tongue ready in brotherhood we stand. Nigeria, so unto son, our sovereign mother land.
Oh, not and this sweet. My voice is not.
Creation. Ladies and gentlemen, can we give a special round of applause to those on the left? They sang it excellently well. And of course, one of them we understand is distinguished Senator Brimo. We thank you for coming, sir. God bless you, and some other illustrious citizens of this country. Oh, the engineer Odebumni, the senior brother of the inaugural lecturer. He, another professor. Prof, you're welcome, sir. We appreciate you, distinguished gentlemen. You know, you actually, okay, BBHS and Igbobi College, colleagues of our illustrious inaugural lecturer. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you.
One is an MNI.
Oh, I understand one of our guests is also an MNI. Very illustrious citizens coming to grace this occasion. We appreciate you. Please come some more. Thank you. A round of applause for them, please. Ms. Biara is ready. Just hold on for the Vice Chancellor who will lead the procession back out of the hall. Ms. Biara leads, Vice Chancellor follows, inaugural lecturer, university lecturer, university registrar, I beg your pardon, Deputy Vice Chancellor IT, Borsa, Professor Sita Agbo, the third inaugural lecturer, Professor Emeka Ene, Architect Akubwe, Professor Peter, and of course, Professor Solomon Benjamin, and some other illustrious, reputable university professors. HOD Mass Communication, Hamisu Sani Mohammed, distinguished scholars, and the man and the university student affairs at the heart, Mr. Kendi, coming behind. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you. Once more, we appreciate you for joining us to celebrate this day. Wishing you safe journey back to your destinations. Thank you.